Back on Titans Talk. Titans a loser on Sunday, 17-10 to the Raiders. Bit of heartbreaking fashion there at the end. We want to hear from you guys tonight. Discouraged, encouraged off of the first three games of Mike Mularkey being the permanent coach and this makeup of the Titans roster. And what do you make about the end of the game yesterday? We begin tonight with Mike. Mike, good evening. You're first up on Titans Talk.
Hey, I got a question to ask. My question is, we got two Heisman Trophy winners playing for the Titans. Why did we lose on our home field? I mean, what's kind of going on? I mean, I'm wishing the best for us, but it just seems that, we spent out all these monies and got all these good players, and we lose at home. I mean, I'm just really discouraged and just wondering maybe we could bring Jeff Fisher back. We had a good thing and let it go, and I'll hang up, and thanks for your time.
Well, Jeff Fisher's under contract, so that's not going to happen, at least for a while. He would have to be out of a job before that could happen here. And I think there's a lot of people who feel like the Fisher train ran its course in Nashville. They didn't have a ton of success on the back end of his time here. 2008, really the last year of his final several in which the Titans really performed well. And I don't think he's necessarily letting the league on fire when he went to St. Louis and now in Los Angeles with the Rams. You got to remember these Heisman Trophy winners, Marcus Mariota and Derrick Henry, they have a combined, a year and 6 games of experience between them. They're still very, very young players, and that's part of the problem here for the Titans. This is a young team. There is some talent there, but those guys are growing up. They're learning. They're learning how to be good players in this league at this point. And it's going to take some time to figure out how to win. It's going to take some time to be who they eventually will be. Titans are trying to surround them with some veterans to give them a little bit more of that leadership. But when you look out there, the Titans are still outflanked when it comes to just pure talent at several positions. I think it's evident on the perimeter on both sides of the ball. I don't think the Titans are really very good in the secondary, and they're not good at wide receiver, especially with Kendall Wright out. And yesterday, you had no Delanie Walker, and that's a big thing. Delanie Walker unable to play yesterday at tight end. That's a huge part of your offense that just essentially goes away. He's your big play threat in the passing game. And when he wasn't out there yesterday, that hurts this offense. Those are real weaknesses that this team is going to have to figure out how to get over throughout the course of the year, whether that's scheme or whether that's sticking with the running game or Dick LeBeau can do smoke and mirrors on defense. Those are just disadvantages that this team is going to have to learn to put up with until they can get back into a draft or John Robinson can make a move in the offseason to try to fix those. He did a lot in this offseason to try to upgrade the talent, and I think he did that on the offensive line, certainly in the backfield. I think he did it at the linebacker position on defense, even up front some. I think he made some moves that made this team better. But remember, this is a team that won 5 games total the past 2 years. There's a lot of holes, and in one offseason, he wasn't able to fix them all. Back to the phones and James. James, hello.
How's it going, Steve?
Going well, buddy.
Hey, but you can tell that the offense is really rattled without Kendall Wright and Delanie Walker, man. I mean, it's just like a total different team out there. But, too, on defense, like you said, the secondary, there's a lot of problems there. Paris Cox missed a lot of tackles yesterday. He got beat a lot. I mean, this guy, you got to put a rookie in or somebody. Get somebody another chance to do something. And another thing, too, you got Terry Robisky. He's back there as an offensive coordinator. Man, he wasn't even coaching last year, and now he's coaching. Why do you think he wasn't coaching? Because he wasn't good enough to coach. That's why no other teams went out and got him, because he wasn't good enough. That's why he didn't have a job. If I've been working for myself for about 13 years now. If I got a guy that knows how to do his job, I'm going to try everything in my power. If he quits on me, I say, hey, I want you back here. He's doing a good job. For some reason, he didn't have a job. And, it's just vanilla offense. And if they can't stretch the field, they're going to play zone. Defense going to play zone, and they're going to keep everything in front of them. That people's going to catch on to what they're doing. And they're already starting. We ain't in week 4 yet, and they're already seeing what the offense of, and Mariota's got to learn how to go down the field. I believe they just need to take a day of practice. Just one whole day. Just work on the deep balls with the receiver. Just nothing else. Just work on the deep balls. And I just hope they start turning things around because I'm a big Titans fan. I'm just kind of a little bit disappointed. I just expected a lot more this year, but I'll talk to you later, Steve.
All right, James, we appreciate the call as always. I got to correct you on one thing. Terry Robisky was the wide receivers coach in Atlanta and has been for several years. That's actually how Mike Mularkey knows him. He worked with him when he was the offensive coordinator in Atlanta, and Robisky was the wide receivers coach. And that's a big reason for the relationship there is the fact that they've worked together. They have very similar offensive philosophies, and Mularkey felt that he was a guy who could bring in that would mesh with his ideas, be able to work with Jason Michael, who was the offensive coordinator last year, is now the quarterback's coach, working very closely with Marcus Mariota. They've tried to work on that deep ball. That was a big emphasis of the offseason. Mariota hasn't thrown it particularly well at this point. I think it's safe to say that. But I also think it goes a lot on the receivers. It's hard to throw that ball particularly well if you don't have the trust that your guy's going to go make a play. Because in essence, a lot of the time, especially in okay coverage, one-on-one coverage down the field, you're throwing it up there with the idea that your guy's going to go make a play. Which wide receiver do the Titans currently have that you trust is going to go make a play? That's part of the problem. You can't just throw it up there if your receivers don't make any separation. And yesterday we saw some drops. Tajay Sharp, who's been the most reliable guy, took a step back yesterday with a couple of those. No Kendall Wright. Delaney Walker wasn't there. Rashard Matthews hasn't gotten open as much as people would hope at this point. The wide receiver position is a big weakness. And they've got to figure something out, whether it's scheme, whether it's running the ball so effectively that they loosen up the coverage and they can figure out how to get these guys open, or maybe it's as simple as just getting Walker and Wright back and adding them into the mix and having a few more guys like that. But right now, the Titans' passing game isn't much of a weapon. And you're asking Marcus Mariota to be perfect with throws, and that is difficult. And yesterday, I think he tried to do too much at times. Scrambling for that first down, that was trying to do too much. Go down, live to fight another day. Play field position, live to fight another day. Instead, he fumbles. The interception before half was just terrible. It was bad clock management from the team, but a terrible throw from Mariota. The throw to start the fourth quarter, not a good throw. 3 turnovers from the guy who's supposed to be the leader of your offense. And Marcus has shown us a ton of flashes over, 15 games now as a starter in the NFL? The games last year, now 3 games this year. He's shown us a ton of promise. What he did last week in Detroit in the fourth quarter was special, high-level stuff. But there's becoming a little bit of an alarming trend to the amount of mistakes and turnovers that are there. He has to protect the football. Especially because this team isn't a high, potent attack. This isn't his Oregon offense where they're going to run 1,000,000 plays in a game and put up 600 yards and score 50 points. If you turn the ball over there, all right, we just go get them the next time. The Titans want to shorten these games down. They want fewer plays. They want fewer opportunities. So when you get them, you can't throw them away. And that's essentially what Marcus Mariota did yesterday. He's got to learn, and he's got to be better. And I've got the trust, and I know they do, that he will. He looks like a guy who will be a franchise quarterback. But these turnovers early in this season have been bad, and they've cost his football team right now, and he knows it. Back to the phones and Brian. Brian, good evening.
Hey, pretty good. Boy, I'm being proven right pretty good. Your other guy, your other cohort, the big guy, the player, I got on him, I think it was last week, the preseason, I said, you know what, I don't think Mariota is it. I really don't. And he says, what are you talking about? I haven't even given him a chance. He's going to be a franchise quarterback. I said, listen, just bear with me. I said, what could you get for him now? I think it was right after the first game we lost, and then the preseason when I called. I said, what if we unload him now, trade him? He said, who are you going to trade for? I said, I don't know anybody. And then also the coach. I'm trying to get rid of him. You can't just wait for him to lose a bunch of games and then fire the coach. Now he's a nice guy, just like Munchak was, but these guys are not head coaches, man. They're not going to be winning head coaches ever. It's just not in them. So, and I love the defense. Defense is kicking butt. No problem with the defense. And the receivers, man, what a joke. But can't they get guys that are even a little slower, but maybe they can catch the ball? They don't have stone hands. I don't care if the guy's fast and they can stop, can't catch the ball. He's an idiot. So, you know, I think that pretty much covers it.
All right, Brian, thanks for the call. Look, the receivers aren't good. They haven't been good up to this point. They've got to figure out a way to get open, and when they do get open, they got to make plays. The interesting thing was, in both of these last two games, in Detroit and yesterday, when the game was on the line in the final couple of minutes, those guys made plays. They got open. So the question is, how come the 2-minute offense, when you put 4 wide receivers out there and you go to no huddle and you hurry up, why is Mariota finding a rhythm there? Why are these guys making a play there? And why aren't they doing it the rest of the game? Part of that is the coverage, no question. Part of it is what you're doing scheme-wise, and Malarkey said just some simple things like they had receivers not run the right depths on routes yesterday, which prevented people from getting open early on in the game, or brought extra traffic over, which prevented a guy from making a catch. Then in the final 2 minutes, amazingly, guys had a different level of focus and started to run the right routes at the right depths. And all of a sudden, people were open and they started making plays. It's amazing how that'll happen. So part of it is young guys or new guys figuring out exactly what their role is and executing. And part of it is maybe this coaching staff figuring out how to implement elements of that offense that's been so effective late in games the last couple of weeks and get it going sooner. Because it was 15-3 going to the fourth quarter last week in Detroit. It was 17-3 at the half yesterday before this offense really got going at all. They've got to figure out how to make this offense more consistent throughout the course of the game. Because I think the defense is going to keep them in the game. But you can't be trying to rally furiously at the end of every game. You just can't do it. You can't live that way in the National Football League. Back to the phones. Hello, Justin.
Hey, I was just coming on here to talk about, I think they should have thrown the flag on the last play, and it just gets me so mad that they did not throw the flag, and it's gotten to the point where I'm probably going to be switching over to another team or something. But I'm going to try to pull through with the Titans. But it's been over 10 years since they've won like any Super Bowl or anything.
Well, I appreciate the call, Justin. Teams don't win Super Bowls every day unless you're the Patriots. It's a very difficult task to get there, obviously. And so it has been a while. They have not lived up to fans' expectations or their own expectations for many years now. 2008 was the last time they were in the playoffs. And they understand your frustration. I certainly understand your frustration. The empty seats at Nissan Stadium, even in these early season games, show the frustration. They've got to win. They've got to figure out how to turn it around to win guys like yourself back, to win the fans back and put them in the seats. As far as those final plays go yesterday, I don't know if I'm going to win a lot of support here locally with this thought. I think the officials made the right calls on the final 2 plays. I think that Andre Johnson, by the letter of the law, pushed off. Maybe there was a bit of a flop there, but by the way it looked when he extended, that's right when the DB goes down. He becomes immediately open. I think that's the right call there. And I think it was, frankly, incidental contact on the final play when Harry Douglas goes down, and on a ball that I'm not sure was really all that catchable to begin with. The problem I have, and this is where if you really want to complain, I'll listen to you, and Mike Malarkey kind of made this argument today. The problem I have is the consistency of it. Essentially, on the Andre Johnson play, you've got a 50-50 type of call. There's contact there, but at times that'll be let go throughout the course of the game. Mike Mularkey brought up an early play that Amari Cooper kind of pushed off on Parrish Cox and had a completion, and there was no flag call. Probably because Cox stayed on his feet at that point. He fought through it as opposed to going down. Here's a play that's 50-50. There is contact there. The offensive guy gets away, makes a catch. You throw the flag on that 50-50 play, and it goes against the offense. The later play, there's contact there. I think it's relatively incidental, but there's contact there again. It's probably a 50-50 call, and that time you leave the flag in the pocket, and it also hurts the offense. I think that's your argument. If you're saying that the calls were bad, I think that's where the argument is, that it lacked consistency. It's not necessarily that one call itself was bad, because I think you can go either way on either of them. I think you can justify going either direction on both plays. The problem is when you go one direction and side with the contact on the first play, and then on the second play, the final play of the game, you're saying, that seems incidental or not enough to call at that point, and you leave the flag in the pocket. That, to me, that's officiating two different ways. And in this case, the way hurt the Titans in both cases, and that stinks. And I know that stuck in Mike Mularkey's craw. The Taylor Lewan one, man. Mularkey said that he thought that Lewan left his feet before the whistle, so how in the world is he supposed to stop? But Lewan said he didn't hear a whistle, he was just trying to help his guy out. I get that, but to me, you've just got to be smarter. It looked bad. It looked bad when it came in, and I expected the flag, and I think a lot of other people did. The bottom line is they want these guys playing to the whistle, and that's fine. Playing to the whistle is a great thing. But you hear sometimes the statement of play to the echo of the whistle, which is taking it just a little beyond. Taylor Lewan is often say, play after the whistle. That's how you sort of establish your nastiness and the physicality that you want to have out there. That's fine, but you got to be smart. It's one thing to set the tone. It's another thing to have 40 seconds left in the game, and you've got a ball carrier at the 2 or the 3 yard line, and you're going to go launching in head first, trying to, I don't even know what to do. There were 3 Raiders defensive players right there and another one coming. Lewan, if anything, best case scenario, he hits the pile and knocks it forward about a half a yard. And so instead of starting first and goal at the 3, it's first and goal at the 2.5. Worst case scenario is he gets penalized 15 yards and you start first and goal at the 17 or the 18. And that's what happened. And you know what? If you replayed that 20 times or 50 times or whatever, 90% of the time, he's going to get the flag. It's almost never going to work out to his favor. So while you applaud the guy and the effort or the hustle to get there and trying to stick up for his teammate and move the pile forward, you got to be smart. You got to understand the situation of the game, how far you've just come, where you are. It's first and goal. First and goal at the 3, you have run down their throats. You have the time. You have a timeout in your pocket. I almost guarantee the Titans score if they just let Tajay Sharp go down there. Instead, you back him up, and now your play calling gets much more difficult. The job of Mariota gets much more difficult, and obviously they never had the ability to run, and they don't win the game. They don't have an opportunity to tie the game because of that play. You gotta be smart. All right, we gotta take a break. We'll come back. Steve, wait on for me. I will get to you right on the other side of this break. More phone calls as well. 737-7767 is the number. We'll also dive in a little bit more, get into the locker room after yesterday's game, some analysis of this one as well with Titans safety Rashad Johnson. Stay tuned. More Titans talk back after this on News Channel 5+.